What's up, everybody? Marshall here. Excuse me. I'm on just a little bit late tonight. I've been getting on around 8:30 pretty much every time. Well, sometimes it'd be 8:30, but every now and then I hit this 8:45 frame. I just got back in from walking the dogs. Had to let it calm down raining just a little bit. We've had some monsoon rain out there today. Almost sounded like it was hailing out there at one time. But just got through walking my dogs, came back in from that, and jumped on here. So yeah, I'm running about 15 minutes late from what I normally do. Like I said, I normally come on every Tuesday around 8:30. What's up, brother? Hope all's well on your end. Now, I'll throw this out here now, and then if anybody else joins in later, I can throw it back out there then. People got to watch out for themselves because apparently other people aren't watching out for anybody. This is right now where I'm at, around me. All right. Where I'm at, 25 confirmed cases of the COVID virus. 1 death. That's the county I'm in. 25 confirmed cases, 1 death. That's my county that I'm in. One county up from me, 39 confirmed cases, 2 deaths. One county down from me, which is about an hour away, 15 confirmed cases, no deaths. And I was too scared to look at the 2 on the sides of me because they had way more confirmed cases before my county and the one above me and below me had. So I was scared to look at the ones on each side of me because they already had way more cases back when it first started. So I was just too scared to look. South Carolina in a whole. This is all of South Carolina. 1,083 confirmed cases. 22 deaths already. Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of a rant out here. This is supposed to be hobby talk. This is supposed to be RC, fishing, gaming, stuff like that. But I'm going to throw a little bit of a rant out here. And people, you may see it when you're out too. But come on, man. Don't be out there with your 2-year-old. Don't be in a Walmart with 50 to 80 people with your 2-year-old little kid, with your 1-year-old, with your baby still sucking on a pacifier. They're dropping the pacifier into the buggy, and you're picking it up, putting it back in their mouth. That buggy has been handled by hundreds of thousands of people each day. And the only thing people are wiping down when they grab the sanitizer is they're wiping down where they grab it with their hand up here at the top. You're not wiping down that whole buggy. And you're putting your baby in that buggy, and she's dropping her passy in that buggy. Come on. The boyfriend, the husband, the father of that baby couldn't have watched the baby while you went to the grocery store. Your mother, I think, was behind you, or sister. They couldn't watch the baby while you went to the grocery store. Come on, people. You got to think up here. Use this. God put it here for a reason. It wasn't to put a hat on it. And it wasn't to put your hair up in a bow or ponytails. It was to think with it. I mean, and apparently we've got a lot of people in this state that don't know how to think, apparently. Because come on. I went in there. I have to go in there. We have a small amount of cabinet space. We can't stock up for a month straight and have place to put everything. We have limited space. We have a small freezer, small refrigerator. I cannot stock up for a whole month. I don't have a bunker. I can't stock up for a whole month. So I have to go in there at least once a week. So I'm seeing this weekly. And as it gets worse, I'm watching people be dumber and dumber and dumber. Now, this is the last time I was in there. One person had a mask on. One person thought they'd come in there with a bandana around their face, and that would protect it. Clothing just collects germs. So a bandana wrapped tied around your face, up here from the nose down. And the weird thing was they were partners. The guy had a bandana around his face, but had no gloves on. The woman didn't have anything over her face, but had gloves on. And trust me, I know there's a 6-foot personal space distancing. Well, that goes out when you go in Walmart because the size of the aisles. You got people walking right by you like this, and they decide and turn to speak to you as the time they're passing by you. Well, of course, if you're not rude, you're going to either cover your mouth and say, "Hey, how are you?" Or you're going to, if you're a man and you wear a hat, you just, as they walk by and speak, just kind of tip your hat. But I don't understand these people taking their damn, excuse my French, taking their damn little 2 and 3 year olds into a Walmart when this is all around like this. Long time, sir. I've got a couple of minutes to tune in here. Our world is corrupt, Marshall. It's true. Oh, man. It's definitely messed up. But I can't understand people. Like I said, I listed the numbers for just this state alone. I mean, 1,083 people sick, 22 people dead. That's just our state that I live in. The county that I'm in, 39 confirmed cases, not dead, but confirmed cases. The county above me, a bunch more. The county below me, 15. Counties on each side of me got almost double that. I'm trying to do okay. To me, I go out there and I got my hand over my mouth like this for right now because I can't find any masks. My girlfriend found some through a company that she's got to order through on Amazon. She's got them coming for me, so at least I'll be able to put on a mask when I go in there, and that way if somebody walks right by me like this and decides they want to turn to me and start talking to me, at least if they cough or sneeze, and she's got me some rubber gloves coming because it's getting worse here. Seems like every day when I look at the COVID numbers, they have gone up by at least 5 or 10 cases each day. It says we've gone up by over 300 or 400% in a week in the cases in my county and surrounding counties. But yet you have people out with a little young 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old in a buggy, sucking on a pacifier, and you watch them drop the passy in the buggy, and the mom picks up the passy and puts it back in the kid's mouth. And I'm going, really? My town was hit by a 6.5 earthquake. Sorry to hear about that. I get to have a Lucas Oil. Yeah, you said that last time you were on here, that you were getting a boat. You're in a hot spot worried about your brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah, it does seem to be a little bit. Man, I'm like right here. Like I said, right now we have 25 confirmed cases in the county I'm in and 2 deaths. Well, 1 death, my bad. 1 death where we're at and 25 confirmed ones. 1 county up has 39 confirmed cases, 2 deaths. Now, the one down below me, 1 county down, they only have 15 confirmed cases and no dead. But on each side of me, I think the one over here on this side, on the right side, they already had like 46 confirmed cases the last time I looked. The one over here on this side of me, on the left side of my county, they had like 21 confirmed cases. And this was back when we had like, I want to say 4 to 6 confirmed cases and no deaths. They were already that high. So I'm scared to look at the 2 counties on each side of me. But I sometimes work in that county that is above me. The one that's got 39 confirmed cases. And the one that's below me that's only got 15, I've done some work in that county as well. So it's further away, But I believe I'd rather work in the one where there's only 15 cases than the 39 above me and the 2 beside me. But she's got me 2 reusable, rewashable masks coming that's got the little ventilator thing in them and everything. Am I ready for April Fool's Day tomorrow? Not really. Because the state of our state as it is right now, there's no fun to be had in it. I mean, it's kind of hard to try to joke and make fun of stuff on an April Fool's when you got over 1,000 cases and over 22 deaths in the state you live in. You don't really feel in an April Fool's mood. You know. Now, in past, I felt like it. I've made little jokes here and there. I come home one time, and I knew it was April Fool's, and I knew my girlfriend hadn't probably been online or anything, and she sometimes forgets that's what day it is when she's just doing other stuff, and I knew she wouldn't know that it was April Fool's yet. And I come in one time and told her I just quit, my job. Got a good laugh out of that one. Being interrupted in a snowstorm. All right, man, you stay safe up in Canada, my brother. Hey, next time you on here, I'll try to throw a little more RC into it and a little bit of this coronavirus, hopefully, brother. But, nah, just ain't in the mood to prank nobody. I'm too busy worrying about trying to stay home as much as I can. When I do go out, trying to stay as far away from other people as I can. I don't want to be within 6 feet of anybody. But when I go to Walmart, I don't have that option. You go in the Walmart, there's 200-300 people in there. I mean, I don't care what time you go in. Our Walmart has begun closing early and opening at like 7 a.m. in the morning to try to make it safer. And I talked to the manager the other morning and she on the phone, and she told me by 7 o'clock she'll have 20 or 30 people waiting in the parking lot for her to walk up to the door and open the door. So you've already got a pile of 20 or 30 time they open the door. So if you get up there an hour or two after they open, you're going to get in there with like 100 people. But like I said, I went up there the other day, pulled up and parked my car. And as I'm walking into the store, I see 2 girls come with 3 or 4 3 down to 1-year-olds sitting down in a buggy. And they just going to go in there and go shopping together. Now, my point is, 2 girls came in there with those 3 kids together. Why couldn't one of those girls kept those 3 kids while the other one went in there shopping? I'm just saying. I mean, we've got this up here for a reason. It's not just to put a hat on it and not just to do it up in different kinds of hairstyles if you have the hair. There's a brain in there for a reason. It's to think. If you're within less than 6 feet of somebody, you can get it. If they breathe on you, if they talk at you and you're within 6 feet, if they definitely cough near you or sneeze near you and you're within 6 feet, you can get it. At least play it smart. If you don't need to be near them, then don't. Stay 6 feet away or more. Or just don't go near them. Now, if you can find the mask, get you a mask, get you on some gloves, and if you want to hang out with somebody and be this close up to them, that's your business. But then go home, take the mask off, take the gloves off, put them out of the way in a bag somewhere, and wash your hands with some kind of antibacterial sanitizer or something before you touch anything that anybody else is going to touch. I'm just saying, people, try to be smart. We have plenty of time the rest of the year to be dumb. Me included. We have plenty of time all year long to be dumb. But when it's something like this, try to be smart. But we're going to jump off of that. Wishing I was fishing. If you're still here, brother. So, unlike others, I know you watch my videos because you comment on them. A lot of people, the only video they come on is my live chats here, and you never see them anywhere else. But this right here was fun to play around with. Thank you, brother. This was fun to play around with. I had a blast out there in the yard trying to mess around with this. But I will tell you, this rod, it hurts the hand like nobody's business. The way the thing's done messed up here, it's just not comfortable in the hand. And then with the dry rot and everything and all that cracking right there, it does worry me if I get a fish on that the rod's going to break with that old rod. Because being that this is an antique. But now the line would do okay for a up to a pound brim, even one of those slab crappies you've been catching. The line might be okay for that because it did handle that big egg sinker. But the rod, I'm not too sure about. So, in my opinion, I at least need to get a rod for that thing. Yeah, I found a cheapo, and I'm probably just going to get an old cheapo just to try it out on. Because a decent rod, $40, and new line, you're talking about $45 to $50 for a rod and line. Because I looked at tri-lane all the way up to braid. And because I looked at some monos and some braids. You can get a line from a company called Cast King. I can get about 300 feet of 12 pound from Cast King for about $6. Now I can get 150 to 180, I think it is, of about 12 or 10. I can get that for about $5. Now you can come over and get the tri-lane 12 pound extra tough for $508, I think it is. I think that's about the price of it. But I found some other that I can get that's around 12 pound. I think it's 6. And I get about 300, 400 yards of it just to put something on there. To make sure it's new. That way you know it's not as easy to break as the old stuff. But the rod, if I'm going to put $40 in a rod, to be realistic, I'd just soon buy a new baitcaster combo. I found a combo online where I can get the Black Max by Abel Garcia. I can get the Black Max on a Berkeley HD heavy duty rod. I think it's like $50. It's 50 or 60. And that's the rod and the reel. You know, then all you got to do is get your line. But I did find a rod. I wasn't trying to get out of that. I did find a rod. It's more of a, it's supposed to be an ocean one. I got 80 pound braid on my rods. Yeah, I looked at some 20, some 30. And then I looked at some 12 and 14 pound mono. These were just different ones I looked at just to put on this one. I've got 12 on my main bass reel, 12 mono on my main bass reel. I may be going up to a 20 braid on it later time, but I want to see how it throws after a while and how I like it, trying it out with the 12 pound mono. I went with Stren Easy Cast. I went with no, my bad. I went with the tri-lane Easy Cast. It's supposed to be like extra limp, has less memory in it. It's an extra limp version. It's supposed to be ultra smooth, easy to cast, less line tangle, less line twist. I went with it. It's 12 pound. That's on my main bass reel. That's on that Abel Garcia Silver Max reel. Now on another reel I've got the Stren, the easier cast type version of it. It's all right. It's I think a 6 pound on it. But and then on my 2 smaller ones, I think I've got like 2 and 4 pound line on them. Just because, you know, they're just mainly for brim and crappie. If I go with a different line, it's probably going to be something like maybe a 20 pound braid. That's probably what I'll go with next. Like say on my main bass rod, if I change that out, I would probably go with that. Or if I got a different rod and reel combo. Like if I went out and bought me a bait caster combo and it was going to be for bass fishing, I would probably at least buy a 20-pound braid and spool it up with that. But a lot of people talk highly of fluorocarbon. You know, I haven't never, to be honest, I've never tried fluorocarbon. Ever. Never tried it. But I like the reel, even though it doesn't have the button. I go super heavy or either ultralight online. Yeah, I know a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people run 30 and 50 braid is all they run on theirs. They run 30 on the, like just their lighter, like small bass. And anything bigger wise, they run at least 50-pound braid. And then they got their little ultralight reel that they do brim and crappie. And they'll run like a 2 or a 4 on it. Excuse me. Like I said, I got one over there. The reel probably ain't no bigger than this. And I'm running like a 2-pound on it. I only use fluorocarbons for leaders. Well, I know some people that use fluoro for the leaders. So that way if they break off, they aren't losing that much of their braid. And I know some people that use fluoro or mono as their backer. So that way it gets on the reel better. They say braid a lot of times wants to slip when you're putting it on the reel. That you have to put like a piece of electrical tape or something when you first tie on. You have to lay you a piece of electrical tape on there to give that line something to grip on to start putting it on the reel. Or you've got to do a fluoro backing or a mono backing. Do like 10, 15, 20 yards of that. And then you tie on your braid to it with like a double knot or something. And then you spool on the rest of the way with your braid. That's what I've heard. And a lot of guys say that works for them. They'll put on mono first, put a little bit of that on, and then they'll tie on the braid and they'll spool the reel the rest of the way up with braid to make it stay on the reel better. And you have a lot of guys that do the fluoro version. And then I've heard a lot of guys say they just take the braid, tie it on, put a piece of electrical tape on it to help hold it in place for a minute, wrap a few lines around, get it started good, and then they just reel it on there. They fill it up to about, say, this far from full, and then they put about 15 yards of fluoro on. I don't use backing. If a huge fish runs, I want good line all the way. Well, the backing they use is still them using good. I'm not saying they use a cheap mono or a cheap fluoro. They just said on the bait caster reels that they have that the mono and the fluoro seem to wind on there and stay in place better. They notice when they're winding on braid, if they just wind it on like this, it wants to slip around the spool as they're winding it on when they first start. When they first start it up, is what I'm getting at. And that's why they would put the mono or the other on there. And yes, some people are being cheap. They'll spool it up about halfway with mono and then the rest of the way up with braid to be cheap and save money. And yeah, if you let it run all the way out and you've got only 150, 180 yards on there and you let it run over halfway out, yeah, you're going to get down to the other and you got to worry about that not being strong enough. I got 300 yards of 80 pound in the reel I got from you. Well, you know, when you got it from me, it wasn't done up that way. It was done the way I'm talking. That's the way they set it up at Bass Pro Shop. Because I took it in there and told them I wanted the braid stuff put on there. And they put mono on there in the beginning, went so far with it, and then went braid the rest of the way up. Or at least that's what they told my buddy. Because my buddy on the reel first, like I told you. We went in there and he had Bass Pro Shop spool it up. Yeah, it had backing. They ended up putting, I want to say, 20 pound or higher mono. It was either 20 or higher. It was a 20 or closer, somewhere in between 20 and 30. They put mono on there first, went up so far, and then went the rest of the way with the braid. But they told him when he bought the rod and reel there, and told him he wanted them to spool it up. They told him he didn't want to spend what it was going to cost to put it all on there, since he had just bought the rod and reel. Because that's where the rod and reel came from. It came from a Bass Pro Shop. So I know how much he paid for it when he bought it. I was there when he bought it. You know, he had, I think he had $260 in just the rod and reel when he bought it. Might have been a little bit more, but I know it was $260 or above just in the rod and reel. And that was before they spooled on the mono and the braid, you know. So you imagine what he had in that. And then he turned around and had them do the extra spool. He had them do the extra spool the same way. Cost you $35 to have 300 yards put on there? Yeah. I mean, so you can imagine he had 2 spools done up that day, you know, but it was half and half. So still a good bit of money. And then buying the rod and reel. He was over $300 that day by the time of getting it spooled up and getting the rod and reel. Because like I said, that reel was $200 for a fact. It was like $199.99 or $219.99, something like that the day we went in there and he bought it. The rod was either $59.99 or $79.99. I know it was one of those. It was either a $60 or $80 rod when he bought that rod. And he bought the rod and reel the same day because I was with him. He had an old Dodge Dakota pickup truck at the time. We went up there in it, and he picked it up that day. Well, then later time, he decided, because he was a bigger guy, he decided to go with a 12-foot and come off the 10-foot. He decided he wanted a longer rod to help get the heavier stuff even further out there. So he went back up there and got him a 12-foot rod and reel. Well, he went back and got a second 12-foot rod and reel. That's when he come to me one day and asked me if I would like to buy the 10-foot one. And I didn't have anything bigger than 7 foot. I was using my catfishing rod when we went at the time to do striper fishing. I would take my old 7-foot catfishing rod with a big old fat Shimano about that big around on it, seemed to be. And I had spider wire on it, and I was running 50-pound spider wire. And I'd throw that out because I knew wasn't anything breaking that 50-pound spider wire. Unless I rubbed across a bunch of rocks, you wasn't breaking my spider wire. You might break my leader, but you wasn't going to break my spider wire. But I had spider wire on the whole reel. I had a spinning reel, and, you know, and I had spider wire on the whole thing. It worked fine on the spinner. I love spider wire on a spinning reel because that stuff is tough as nails. You literally got to cut it. If you hang up in a tree and you can't break the limb off, you're generally going to have to cut it because you're generally not pulling your lure back out. If the hooks are any count, you're not pulling it back out. You know, you're going to end up cutting the spider wire generally. Because that's some tough line. And unless you run it on the rocks a bunch of times, it's not frayed enough for you to break it. So what I started doing is I started running a leader, maybe about 3 foot, with a swivel up here, a big weight up here above it, like a 1-ounce sinker. And then I'd tie on that barrel swivel, and I'd have a bead in between the two of them. And then I'd come down and I'd run down and I'd have me a hook on there with regular line. And this would be probably about a 10 or a 12-pound line. And then I'd put my night crawler on there. I'd throw that out for my catfishing rig. That way that weight would go all the way to the bottom, and that leader would let it come up about a foot, maybe 2 foot off the bottom of the lake. And I wore catfish out that way. With that rig, I would literally just wear catfish out. I'd throw that thing out as far as I could zing it. Let that thing drop to the bottom. Leave the bail open until I seen the line not moving. Then I'd close it up, set it in the rod holder, and then just slowly tighten it up until I seen the rod tip just barely start to bend just a hair. And see that line real good and taut. And if the wind's not blowing, you're good until they start hitting, you know. And if you put a bail on or something else, just for extra notification, that's your business. But I had a Eagle Claw reel, and this is pretty bad butt reel. Had an Eagle Claw reel. I put it on a Rhino, Zebco Rhino rod, had that glow in the dark tip. And then I put Fireline on it. That was my closer in catfish setup. And that one I didn't tie on a 3-foot leader. I just tied on to it because I wasn't worried about them, in close. And I just ran straight Fireline because it wasn't quite as tough as the, spider wire. The Fireline was good, but it wasn't quite as tough as the spider wire at the time. And I'd throw that one probably, 25, 30 yards out. Whereas I'd put the other one 50 to 70 yards out. I'd be way out there in the middle of the lake, chunking it out. And then I'd throw the little one just, about half as far as that one out. Set it down, let it sink, tighten my line up, and I'd have them both in rod holders. And I'd have them a good ways away from each other. At least, I generally tried to fish them at least 15, 20 feet away from each other. So that way I'd have time to get one up, set the hook, and move over a little bit so it didn't get wrapped around the other one. But that's how I ran my. But when I went striper fishing, I just took my catfishing rod for probably the first year I striper fished. It was just that big catfishing rod, 7-foot rod with that big Shimano reel on there and fishing with spider wire. And then when he got the 2 12-foot ones, he sold me the 10 that you got from me. And I was in seventh heaven because I'm sitting here going, wow, this thing is sweet, And I started fishing that one. And I'm going to tell you what, I doubled in the amount of striper I caught on that one compared to that 7-foot. Because I had that extra leverage, I could just get it way into way better positioning. Between the braid on that he had on there, that good expensive braid, and that 10-foot rod instead of that 7-foot rod, the distance that I could throw it was way more than what I was throwing out my catfishing setup, even with a heavy plug. So I got where I just left that one at home, and the only thing I took with me was the big one. Then I took a smaller rod with me to try to see if I could catch any kind of bait. Like say if we were down there, try to catch some small shads or something that I could put on a hook on the big boy and throw back out there for another big striper. But a lot of times we just stop by a place and pick up some herring, take them with us, and throw them on my 10-foot one and on his 2 12s and throw out there. Like I said, we fished at a couple different dams. We caught a good bit of striper, but, all in all while we fished together. And I got an itch in my ear, boy. Whew. But he got divorced, and that hit him hard. Which trust me, it can hit you hard when you split up with a loved one after years, of being together. And he got where he quit basically striper fishing. Got where all he was doing was a little bit of very little bass fishing, a little bit of catfishing. But then he hit the sauce hard, and he started hanging out with the guys that encouraged him really to do that. I guess because they wanted him to buy it for them. And every time I hung out with him from then on, he'd be almost drunk every time we went fishing, or drunk when we did go fishing. The last time we hung out together, he got drunk, passed out, sitting in a chair on the pier, and almost fell in the lake. I woke him up, helped him back to his place, because it was right down below where he lived. He lived right at the lake then. I helped him back to his place, and we didn't fish anymore together. Because I was like, I didn't go down there for that. If I want to get drunk, I can just hang out with a friend and get drunk and be silly. Or if I want to get drunk, I can hang out at home and get drunk. I didn't like doing it when I was fishing, because to me, what if he fell in the lake? At that time, I barely knew how to keep myself up. If he fell in the lake and hit his head on a rock, I wouldn't have been able to bring him back in. He'd have laid in the water and drowned. Yeah. And I just thought that was dumb, getting totally S-faced and then going down there and fishing. But I didn't know it until I arrived at his place. Because when he called me, he was still sober. But by the time I got there, he'd done tied one on. And he's like, oh, man, I'm fine. And I tried to believe him because he was one of my best friends. Yeah, and then we got down to the water, and I realized he wasn't fine. And I tapped him a couple times. Come on, man. Now, if you ain't okay, let's just go back up to your place. We can just sit there and BS about some stuff. It didn't work out. He passed out. I thought he was going to fall in the lake, so I woke him up, helped get him back up to his place, told him I'd holler at him later. And then we just quit hanging around because he got more and more into it and more hanging around the guys that did it. And then I tore my shoulder out. I was at work one night. Somebody didn't put up a wet floor sign. I come across the floor. Well, actually, they put one up, and the manager made them move it because they had mopped the bathrooms. And he made them move it in front of that so a customer wouldn't fall. But technically, when you have a restaurant and people can come in, you're supposed to have at least 2 wet floor signs. We only had 1. I fell and got messed up and was never able to use. And I couldn't handle walking all over all those rocks because I got a bad knee. I just couldn't handle going down to the dam and fishing for them stripers anymore. My shoulder was messed up so bad that I used to throw out right-handed and reel because I'm lefty. I'm a lefty. So I would throw out with my right, and then I would reel them in with my left. And my left shoulder hurt me so bad every time I threw out. I gave it up and never fished for striper again. And then I started switching all my reel handles over. Started holding them with the left hand and reeling with the right. And that works out better for me, but it still bothers my shoulder because of this. Just out like that. Unless I'm like right here. If I don't have a fish on and I'm just reeling it in, I can keep my shoulder down like that. But if I'm fighting a fish and I'm holding it like this, that even hurts my shoulder. Just that much of a lift. So I can go out there and fish for a couple hours, come back and my shoulder generally bothers me. So that's why I gave up the striper fishing. It was too much on the shoulder. That's why if I get a bait caster, it's got to have the reel on the right side. I cannot hold a rod anymore like this and try to power a fish back with the right arm and reel with the left. It wouldn't work out. But I made a bad rookie mistake. You're going to get a kick out of this one wishing I was fishing 73 because I know you're still here. I went fishing a few days ago. It was like 2 days after I did the bait caster. I went fishing. And I took 3 rod and reels. One had one bass plug on it. One had another bass plug on it. And then one had something for brim and crappie. I had my GoPro Hero 5 on my chest cam strap. And it had been raining 2 days before, like monsoon rain. So I wanted to be safe. So I took my GoPro Hero 5 because I didn't want to fall and break it. Because even though it's refurbished, it was still a lot of money for me. I put this over it. Went down there. Went fishing. I fished with 4. I fished with 4 of the 7 Wish.com lures I had gotten. That first time. I used 4 of the 7. Because remember, I had told everybody when I go down there fishing again, I'm going to try out the Wish.com lures. Well, I decided I was going to be true to that word. I was going to do what I said. I get down there. First one out, I throw out the top water frog that came from them. I reel it in once, throw it back out there, reel it in a second time, throw it back out there, and it lands, and it's sitting like this in the water. You can see the eyelet where the line's tied on, and very front part of the like face of the frog, the head of the frog, and the rest of them was like that underwater. I'm like, well, so much for that. I guess it was wishful thinking, because that frog leaked like a seal. I mean, it just took on water like nobody's business. It turned out like every other time I threw him out, I was having to squeeze the water out. So was the top water frog any good from Wish.com? No. Because no fish even hit it. And it took on water after one or two throws. And I mean badly. I mean, the thing was sitting like this in the water. Wasn't laying up on top like this or barely like this. It was literally like this after two throws. And all you could see is where you were tied on, that little silver eyelet where you tie on at. That was the main thing you could see way out there. So, yeah, it had, and every time I brought him in, I was squeezing water out. So, I had tied on the one that has the little spinner style thing at the back end. I had tied him on. Yeah, it could have been, but hey, it may have been the wrong time for it, brother. But a promise is a promise. And that last fishing trip, I know, but we had 85 degrees here that day. It was 85 degrees outside. So I figured the water temperature was a little bit up. You know, we did have 85 degrees here that day. We were. It said it was near record highs for us that day. What's up, Bull Gear RC Videos? I hope you're staying safe, my friend. If anybody hears anything in the video other than me, I apologize. Just so you know. But some people, and I'm not saying all people, some people seem to, you know, when they know you're doing a live video, they seem to get a little bit louder when you do a live video. You know, just saying. But it's all good. Y'all may not even hear it. All right. Pass through your neck of the woods. I think if you pass through South Carolina, then you definitely pass through my neck of the woods. I know. I didn't say the water was 72, brother. I said the temperature outside got up in the high 80s, like 86 or 88 here that day. We had near record highs. And I just figured, hey, I'd already promised next video out, I'm using Wish.com lures. And, you know, I still had to test it out. And now that I see it sinks more than it stays up, you know, it tells me it ain't really worth taking out there really much anymore and trying out. I don't even know if I'm going to try it again. But it is what it is. It ain't no biggie. But next fishing trip, I'll probably just be using whatever. I'll probably go away from the Wish.com lures and go back to what I want to try, you know, instead of that style. I started in Savannah, went to Charlotte. Now, was that Charlotte, North Carolina you were in? So that made you one state. You were sitting in one state right beside me, huh? Because I'm in South Carolina. So you were one state away, huh? This is the Wish one. The green with the white underside. And when it dropped down, I swear, this is all that was sticking up out of the water was like there, where my fingers are at. Everything else was completely under the water. It looked like that out there in the water. That's the way it looked. And I was like, well, that ain't how you want it. And every 2 or 3 times, well, I want to say 1 or 2. I think it was every 1 or 2 times I brought him in, I had to drain water. Yeah, I drove through South Carolina to get to Then yeah, you did cross through my neck of the woods. You definitely crossed through. But now wishing I was fishing. I just decided to do it because I said I would do it, you know? I know the temperatures aren't right out there in the water for that because nobody around here has been fishing a frog. Nobody around here has thrown a frog. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about these. I've heard a lot of people talk about those. And different, like, different size lipless crankbaits and stuff like that. I've heard people talk about them. But yeah, I hadn't heard anybody talk about any frogs. Yeah, a rattle trap. I almost bought an SCX 10-3 today, but I didn't have room to carry it in my luggage. You hated that one, didn't you? I know that one killed you. Didn't have room for it because it looks like it's going to be a sweet Jeep. Now this one, the time before I had went out fishing, I tried this one out there. Now this ain't wishingIwasfishing.com one. This came from Walmart. And I knew it wasn't that time for it, but a lot of times you buy something and you just want to try it to see how it works. Now, I'm going to show you one that I do want that I do want to try. And I'm going to show you what I did try. Now this one, I threw this one while I was there. I threw that while I was out there. See? And it's got the back path for the body. It's propeller. See? This thing makes a lot of noise in the water. I'm going to tell you. I threw this one several times. Got an orange belly. Like silver, almost chrome side. With like, kind of looks like sparkles in it. It's really shiny. And then you got the black back. I threw this one several times. This was a Wish.com lure. Didn't get anything on it. But man, it makes a lot of noise out there. I mean, a lot. In the water. Then I threw my chatterbait that I got off Wish.com. I had gotten a chatterbait off Wish.com, so I decided to throw it. I added a swim tail I had picked up at, paddle tail style swim bait. I added a small one that I had bought from Walmart. That's a 3-incher there. I added that to it, and I put white on there. White with a silver back. It's got a silver back up here, glitterly. It's got glitter. See? Glitter flake silver back. And it's a white one. And I put the chatterbait on there. And I threw that top water. And ran it like a top water rig. And let it slowly go under the water. Pause for a minute. And then twitch it and bring it right back up near the top. Didn't get any hits on it. But this swam good. Considering. This is Wish.com. Swam good. Well, the trailer's not. The trailer came from Walmart. Like I said, that's a 3-inch fluke style body. Then I threw this. Now, these hooks are down just a little too far for this tail. Because like every third time I threw it out, see, the hook comes up, catches the tail, fouls up the tail, and makes it swim really weird. But when it's not fouling up the hooks, this thing looks beautiful in the water. Oh man, just as you're reeling it towards you, that's how it would look in the water. I love the way this thing looks in the water. I didn't catch anything on it, but I love the way it looked in the water. And like I said, it was like every third time I throw it, or maybe every fourth time I throw it, this hook, when it would hit the water, this hook would come up and catch the very back of the tail and just foul it up. And it would kind of flip over on the side and just made it look even more dead, really, to be honest. I mean, because it laid on its side, and when I was reeling it back, but it didn't look real. It made it look more dead. If I'd have just let it sit there a few minutes, it would have looked dead. Mike would have got hammered. But when you reeled it in, it just came in more or less like this. So it didn't look as realistic. So I threw that one. So to be honest, threw this, love the swimming action, love the way it looks in the water, love the noise it made. Threw this one, and probably every 3 or 4 throws, you got to worry about it catching back here. Now, if this O-ring that got back here, the ring that got back here, wasn't quite that long, and the hook was like right there up against it a little bit further, then it wouldn't catch that tail, and it would have been perfect. Or if the tail was a hair bit longer, then it wouldn't catch on to the tail. But anyway, tried both of those. Tried the top water frog, which just sank on me. Tried the chatter. So that was 4 out of 7. So I tried 4 out of 7. Now, then I decided, well, I'm going to take a break from the wish.com ones, and I'm just going to see if anything's hitting anything right now down here that I'm throwing. And this was all between, I want to say 7:30, 8:30 in the morning. Now, I tied on this one. And oh boy, chrome down here at the bottom, black at the top, looked like a shad, and then some. Got a little bit of a highlighted yellowish chartreuse color down the side. This camera doesn't do it justice. Hey, I'll take it out of the shadows. There you go. The camera and lighting just does not do this thing justice. This thing is just beautiful. I mean, to be honest, one of the most beautiful lures I've got, to be honest. Now, I still have a couple to try. Like I said, I throw it out at least 4 of the 7. So, I still need to try. I've still got to try that one, which is supposed to be more of a representation, I guess, of a baby bass. I've still got to try that one. And as you can see, that one's going to be a little bit deeper. That one's going to come down and then do its little. And I'm hoping, see, right there, the hooks don't come all the way to the end of the tail. I'm hoping when it's swimming, the hooks don't catch the tail and interrupt this one. But we're going to have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on this one. That one may be money. I might put that on my bigger reel, at least the one with the 12-pound line, and throw that one out and see if I can catch on to something. This one, which is a wild colored. It was one of those where I got this for free and all I had to pay was shipping. And they randomly sent you a color. And they had a bunch of colors that looked good. Of course, I got the one color I wouldn't have actually picked. But still, it's got a black back with the reddish purple on the head. And then a blue and an orange. And then, like I said, it's a broken back minnow style, of course. But I still haven't thrown that. I haven't thrown this one. I haven't thrown the bass one. I haven't thrown these two. And I haven't thrown this one. This is the other one I haven't thrown. And it's got another hook under the belly. I haven't thrown it yet, to be honest. So I've got 3 of those left to throw. But now, I did decide while I was out there to try one that I had gotten from them another time. I had just got one bait from them to do something else with, and I decided, okay, I'll try that. So I decided to throw it. Give me a second. I'm going to put up some of these I did try. Yeah, I brought my tackle box in here so that way I can show what I did try. But yeah, like I said, I even threw that small lipless. Small lipless didn't give me any hits. Then I even tried this. Let me get him out from under here. This I had ordered one time. And instead of just putting it as a trailer behind something else, which I have done, and I've got another lure, see, I've got him done up on here as a trailer behind this jig. I got him done up as a trailer behind that. I'm going to fish him that way later time. But I decided I had a jig head, an extra jig head laying around. I decided to just put this body on there and fish him, as a swim jig. Didn't get any hits on it, but it seemed, I like the little flappers, up here. They flap. The tail moved a little bit. Not as good as the fluke did, of course, but the fluke is a fluke. And this was just, from wish.com. So this one does look decent in the water, but not real good. But this one I threw looks good in the water. It looks great in the water. Great sound in the water. This one looks great in the water until the back hook catches a hold of this fin back here. And that fouls up the way it's supposed to swim. So, 2 of them look really good in the water. 1 looks okay in the water. Chatterbait looked great in the water too. So you got 3 that really did good presentation wise. 3 did great presentation wise. 1 did horrible presentation wise, which is the topwater frog, because it just took on water left and right. This one did okay. And now we've got still these 2 here to try out. And then I've got that other one I told you about. I showed you the swim bait that's got the extra set of hooks hanging underneath it. So we still got 3 wishing.com ones to try out. But we'll get to those. I mean, we will get to them. Most definitely. We'll give them a try and see what they can do. But for now, you know, we're going to go back probably to some other stuff. We're going to probably go back to just some of my, style lures that I want to throw. I'm probably going to throw that. As far as fake bait goes, I'm probably going to throw that one the next time I'm out there. To be honest. Probably throw that one the next time I'm out there. That'll probably be the one I throw next time. I think it's called Bloodshed. That's what it's called. That'll probably be the one I throw next time. Just to be honest. But yeah. I did have a blast out there, though, trying them. But here's the really dumb thing. I got a funny one here. I get out there trying all these. Come back home. Take my camera out of my chest harness. And as I go to take my camera out of my chest harness, realize I never took that off, man. Yeah. So I had filmed the whole time of me being down there. Nothing but sound. That's all I had filmed. I come home, hooked it up to the charger, took the memory card, checked it, saw that it was nothing but sound, and went ahead and deleted all the files. Because I was like, I'm not even going to put this up. I'm like, I'll just tell everybody where they can get a good laugh about it on my live chat. Because, yeah, my first time fishing, actually going fishing with the GoPro Hero 5 on my chest, I forget to take the lens protector off. What it was is I knew we'd had a bunch of rain, and I knew being right there at the bank, it was going to be real slick and real slippery and everything. And I was afraid I was going to fall, land right on my chest, and maybe break the GoPro Hero 5 first time out, the lens or something, be my luck. So I put the lens cap on it before I left the house. Walked down there toting all my fishing gear. Got down there. And then when I got started fishing, just had it on my chest, reached over here, turned it on, hit record, started throwing, started talking. Got distracted. I never thought about it until I got ready to come home. And then as soon as I walked through the door, I said, please don't, please don't, please don't. And when I pulled it off, I go, crap. And I was right, But it is what it is. Dumb rookie mistake with the GoPro first time out. I FUBU'd up on that one real big. I messed up on that one big style. But it's my fault. I can't blame nobody on that one but me. But as they say, happens, Stuff happens all the time. Whether you want it to or whether you don't want it to. It's part of life. Stuff just happens. That's not in our control. And it did that day. But I made the best of it. I came home. And I was like, well, I can make fun of this on my RC chat. And I can at least tell everybody what I thought of the ones I threw and what I thought of the ones that, and what I haven't thrown yet. I can at least chat about them and go from there. So, That's what I decided to do. Was chat about the ones I had through and just go from there. And that's what I'm doing tonight. Now, I did listen to you, brother. If you're still there, I'll listen to you, brother. Curly tail, 2 extra tails, and got the little spinner under the front. Says Crappie Buster on it. Spin and grub. So you got your grub right here with the spin part on it. And the curly tail grub on it. So I listened to what you said there. Because I wasn't sure if I had a grub with a curly tail worm. So this was only like $1.88. So I had decided to pick that up. There we go. Get it out of the light quite as much. But there we go. Picked that up at Walmart when I was there getting groceries. Paid like $1.88 for it. And, you get the one spinner system, jig head and the hook, and you get 3 of the bodies. But now with those 2 extra bodies, I got some extra jig heads that don't have spinners on them. If something happens and I break this off, at least I can take those 2 extra bodies and use those curly tail grubs on something else. But I picked that up. I'm going to put that on my crappie, on the rod that I use for crappie and brim. I'm going to put that on there. I think I've got either 2 or 4 pound line test on that. And I'm going to put that on there. Next time I'm out, this will be on that rod. It's on the brim and crappie rod, the 6-foot setup. And like I said, there's either 2 or 4 pound line on it. And then I'm going to chunk that out and try to catch me a brim or a crappie. Might even hook onto a small bass. Never know. And then I'm going to put that rattle trap or that lipless crank. I'm going to put that on the bigger one, that blood shad. I'm going to probably put that on the bigger one and probably throw it. Since I did use the 4 out of the 7 that I got from Wish the first time, I used 4 out of 7 of those lures. I did try them out. I did see that the frog's not really worth anything, as far as staying afloat. If you want a frog that does what it's supposed to, then you don't really want to go with that one. But the other lures all seem to do pretty well. So I will be trying them another time, just probably not the next time. I may even tie on this. Beetle spin. It's got the fork tails at the back that do that. I may even tie on that. Haven't decided. But I'm definitely, now this is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Now, unless I'm taking my kayak next time, I'm definitely switching spots. Because I haven't had any luck there. I done went down there and fished twice from the bank with fake stuff. And none of the assortment I tried has, got me a hit where I knew for sure I had a hit. Now, I did get what I felt was 2 bumps while retrieving one of the Wish ones. I was retrieving I I want to say which one is it? I want to say it was the one with the propeller. I was reeling it, and he was going bloop, 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 and it was like he hung up on something. But that could have been something sticking up at the edge of the water that I come across, because it was a real quick, oh, But if you're reeling him slow and then just popping him a little bit, he stays mostly at the very top of the water. So I kind of just missed it as being something sticking up towards the top of the water. But that happened twice. I'm like, oh, was that a bite, or did I come across something? So I don't know. I may have had actually a couple of hits down there. But come on, man. I done went and fished from the bank down there. This is my third time going down there and spending 2 hours or more down there and not getting a single fish. And the first time I went down there and tried it, I actually went down there with red worms and a cork and threw out and didn't get any bites. So as for productivity so far, it's shown none, as far as productivity. I fished that spot 3 or 4 times. I know 3, may have been 4. And a bite that I can prove, I haven't had. Catching a fish, I haven't. Any. At that spot right down there. But I did see something break the top a couple times. Now, was it a bass for sure? Didn't see the whole thing. Was it some sort of fish, a couple of the breaks I saw? Yes. Some kind of fish was making a ruckus out there. But I've seen the same kind of ruckus from gar. I've seen that same style ruckus from a gar coming up to the top after like bait fishing stuff and chasing other fish. I've seen the gar come to the top and make that kind of noise. So I could have had a couple of gar running down there. And a lot of times when the gar are running, the fishing can be hard for other fish. Because I went to a lake and fished, and this was a real popular lake, supposed to be real good. Went out there, fished 6 or 7 days in a row. Never caught a fish, ever. In almost 7 days straight. Well, I know it was 6 days straight. I missed one day because we left there and had went to visit my girlfriend's sister. So I fished 6 out of 7 days that we were there. And not even a fish. But the whole 6 days that I went fishing, I saw gar coming up to the top, making noise and everything. I actually seen them come up and poke the snout out. And I'm like, yep, you ain't doing nothing today, Drew. Because the brim and crappie kind of like go non-existent when those big old gar are around. The big gar come around. It's like the brim and crappie run and hide. Catfish are down bottom more times than not. And I wasn't really down there at the time. This is back before I started going for bass again. I was down there brim, crappie, and catfishing. Catfish wasn't hitting on the bottom, and the brim and crappie wasn't hitting nothing I had out there. I tried minnows. I tried red worms. I had night crawlers out there. I fished 6 days out of 7 days of being there. It was Lake Hartwell. That was the lake we were on. And it was known to be a good lake. Lake Hartwell, 6 days in a row. 0 fish. 6 out of 7 days. And it wasn't in the wintertime. It wasn't right at the beginning of spring. This was probably June. This was June when we were there. So, and there were no people swimming in their lake. They didn't allow swimming in the lake because they had a pool where we were at. It was a campground. And they had a swimming pool at the campground. So they didn't allow any swimming in the lake. So it wasn't blamed on people out there swimming, disturbing the fish. It was just they wasn't biting. But every time I went down there and fished, and had my live bait throwing it out, I could see them gar. And this ain't one or two at a time. I was seeing like 5 to 10 gar popping in different spots while I was out there fishing. Never did anything out there. But when I was down there the other day throwing these fake ones, it was like every 10 or 15 minutes, I would see a wake up at the top of the water. And you could tell it was some kind of fish making a fuss. Whether it was a big old bass coming up there chasing bait, swimming bait, or whether it was a gar. And they were just making a fuss out there. And I never caught anything. But, like I said, there was a couple times it felt like I had a couple bumps. Now, whether that was a bass hitting it, or whether that was just me coming across the top of something right there near the top of the water, and I was really maybe a little too slow, or during my pause, when it started up again, it went underwater just a hair, got a little too far down and got to come across something. I don't know. And one time, I think it could have been a turtle. Because I come across one area, and it was like, 3 minutes later, I saw a turtle come up to the top, right near where I was throwing at. So I switched the spots I was throwing in. And then there was a couple times I was reeling it in. As soon as I would reel in from a spot, I would see that noise out there and the big old swirl. And I'd be like, good God, something's making a fuss out there. And I'd throw out right near the area. Wouldn't really get no hits, but then reel in, throw out over here. And about 3 to 5 minutes later, I'd see more activity over there again. So I don't know what was going on that day. But I felt about this big when I got home and realized that cover was still on there. I was like, wow. Did I just do that? Yeah. Did I? I'm like, oh, well, next time you'll know, hey, you got to have that on your mind. But I was excited, like up to here, excited to get out there with the GoPro Hero 5 and try it out down there for my first time fishing with it on my chest, standing up, and see what kind of footage I could get with that. Because I saw what I got out there throwing the bait caster, just testing it out. I'm like, they're not going to see exactly where I'm throwing necessarily because of the way it's angled a little bit down, but they'll be able to see the action. When I'm reeling, they'll see if I do this or if I do that, they'll see me trying to set the hook on something. And then when I reel it in and bring it, if I get it in, I can bring it up in front of my chest and show it to them. You know, so I was really stoked. And to come home and realize you left the cap on. You didn't get nothing but sound, buddy. Like I said, I felt about that big. But it is what it is. Life goes on. I'm like, I laughed it off. I put the battery on charge. I deleted all the files. You know, and I'm like, next time I know to make sure I take that cap off. But the cap is there for protection. Because you never know when you're walking down to the water if you're going to accidentally fall. I mean, you could be walking on pavement, step on a shoelace that you didn't see coming untied, trip yourself up, fall on your chest, and you've already got it up on your chest, and there you go. You cracked your lens before you even started fishing. Then all you can do is go ahead and do your fishing trip, come home, and talk about it on another video, like I'm doing on this one. You know, but now I know I got to keep that in my head. Hey, did you pull the cap off? Did you pull the cap off that GoPro Hero 5? Because I'm so used to wearing one up here on my head. And 9 times out of 10 when you fall, if I fall, like I slip on the ground, I fall and I land on my back 9 times out of 10. Or I land on my knee and I put my hand down and I generally don't hit up here. Or I fell on my stomach before. And that just gets this part, but generally not my head. That's why I wasn't worried about having a cap on when I wore the one on the hat cam. That little Firefly 6S Plus, it came with a lens cap cover. But I quit taking it. That way I didn't have to worry about forgetting to pull it off. Because I never fell directly on my face and hit the hat, that way. So I wasn't worried about messing that one up. But the Hero 5, mounted on my chest. I was so scared to death that I'd fall laying on my chest and break my camera I just got. Just one of those things. It was a dumb thing, and I forgot to take, silly, forgot to take the cap off. But I'll make sure I remember that next time. I'll be like this. I'll get down there and start fishing, and I'll tilt the camera up and glance at it, pull the cap off, set it in my pocket or something, and then turn the camera on and start recording. Now, I have noticed this. The way it films, it's got just a little bit of an angle down. So in other words, it's not filming straight out from my chest. So that means you get when I'm reeling. You can kind of see me when I'm throwing out sidearm, but you're not going to see where the lure actually goes because of the way the camera's angled a little bit. I need to see if I can find a way to bring it up and put it flush against my chest so that way it's pointing straight out. That would give you a better view of when the actual lure is going out so you can see that better where it actually goes. And better view of when I'm reeling back in. Without me having to lean over or grab it and tilt down and try to show you something. Or I can wear it on my head. Now, when I'm in my kayak, I'll be sitting down. And with that thing tilted down a little bit, the only thing you're going to see is this. When I'm reeling, that's all you're going to see. You're going to see me rear back, like bring it away from me, in front of the reel like this. I'll throw out. You might see my arm as it goes out, and then you'll see me bring it back in front of me when I'm reeling back in. But you're not going to see where it goes pretty much. You're not going to see any of that as long as it's pointing down like at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to try to see if I can find a different one of those attachments, and maybe it'll get it where it'll allow me to bring it and put it flush up against my chest. That way it'll go straight out. Otherwise, my opinion, when I don't have my rod and reel here, like right here, I think all you're going to see if I'm in my kayak, all you're going to see is my crotch because it points down at an angle. Nobody wants to stare at a grown man's crotch for an hour or two. If I'm out there on the lake in the kayak, I'm out there doing this. You're going to see that because I got the paddle right in front of me and I'm paddling, right in front of me. You're going to see that from it. When I get out there and throw out, you're going to see me reeling back in from it. But if I set the reel down and I'm just sitting there like to get a swallow something to drink, the camera's going to be pointed right down at my crotch. Now that works good. Don't get me wrong. When I'm tying on a lure, because I've got the lure right here, the camera's going to be pointing right down at the lure. It's going to work good for that. But unless I can tilt it and get it flush, you're not going to see anything anywhere I throw at by that angle that it's at right now. Because I could tell that from the video on the bait caster. Head's the best. Yeah, head's the best as far as wherever you look, it goes. And if you got it right there barely above your hat, or you're wearing it directly on your head, wherever you look, it's definitely going. So I'm thinking about running that. Now, I don't like the actual head mount. It makes me hotter. Makes me sweat more. So, but this one came with it. And this is still going to, see, it's pretty short. Okay? And if I'm sitting here and I do this, see, if I'm doing this and I'm paddling, still going to see it. When I look over here and say, oh man, look at this. Look at this. You're going to see it. But on my chest, unless I can get it flush, it's going to be looking down towards the water right there near me or down towards the kayak more if I'm sitting in that kayak. So I'm still thinking on the kayak, this might be best as far as when I'm fishing. Like that. But because I've seen people mount them up here. Yeah, you can get a hat with a GoPro mount. It's called an action hat. Yeah, I've seen a guy who's got it mounted right here. It comes with the mount glued onto the hat right here. Right up in here. And your GoPro sits like right here if you do the mount right. Sits back up here. But This came with my kit. And this ain't really no much higher than what his is going to sit. And it came with the kit already. But the good thing about being mounted to and this ain't that much heavier. So yeah, but I may get what you're talking about down the road. One guy told me he bought a hat that floats. It's got something in the bib here and around the back part right there where like right here, and it helps make it float. And he uses that when fishing with a GoPro. So that way if he falls out of the kayak, the hat falls off his head and lands in the water. Your hat's just sitting here like this, even with the GoPro's weight on it. That's what he uses. But yeah, I've heard people say get the action hat. But now I like the chest part for one reason. If you fall out of your kayak, your GoPro's still on you. Your GoPro goes where you go because it's on your chest. If you fall into the lake, you start swimming, your GoPro's still there, at least. You got it hooked on to any kind of hat thing. If you fall in the water, and if that hat doesn't float from the weight of that GoPro, start sinking. If you're not quick, bloop, 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 your hat goes way under. And if you got really stained water, you're not finding it. Once it gets a few feet under the water, you're not going to find it. It's on the bill of your hat. It makes your hat dig into your head, and the action hat floats. So it's on the right here on the bill. The one I saw was what was it, Captain Drone? He's got a YouTube channel called Captain Drone. Does RC flying videos. His is right here where the tail of that bass is. It's right there like that. That's where his is. And he's got the DJI Osmos or whatever, the action cam, the DJI action cam, the 4K one. He's got it mounted right there. Now his is good from the land right there because you ain't worried about the hat falling off your head much when you're on the land. And if it does, it's probably not going to break. But yeah, if you can get one where it's mounted here and it floats, yeah, that's the trick. Because you've got it dead right above the top of your head. So it is right here. The one you're talking about is right here. So it makes it lay harder on your head. That way it helps keep the hat on your head more. Gives you more weight right there is what you're saying because it's like this. So it's on the same spot as my bass is. Same spot that other hat I'm talking about is. But now I don't know if his is the action hat, this guy's. But yeah, that would be the one to look into, one that floats. Because it'd be just dumb. Like, this is what I'm worried about. I've got this on my head. I'm out there fishing. I've got it lined up straight. I'm out there fishing. I hook onto a bass. I tip over. Hat falls off in the water. You've got the weight of this plus the weight of a GoPro Hero 5. Bloop, 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 bloop. And once it gets a good 3 feet underwater, if the water's murky like my lake is most of the time, you ain't finding it. It's gone unless you can get somebody who really knows how to swim and dive good to go down there and just fill around. You'd be like, look, I went under right here. And you got to hope you can find it or hope they can find it. But yeah, I may look into that. It's just called the action hat. Because yeah, a floating hat would definitely be the ticket. That way, you see everything I look at. I know you're seeing what I'm looking at. Like if I'm tying on a lure, I'm looking down at it. You're seeing it. If I'm throwing out, you're sitting down like this in a kayak. You're throwing out. Of course, the camera's right here. It's going to see you doing this. How you throwing out. And if you're looking at the spot you're throwing at, it's going to be looking there too. And then if you go to hook onto something, it's going to see you bring it. See? And when you go to pick it up out of the water, you're leaning down to grab it up beside the boat. That's the good thing about the hat cam. Now, I do like the chest one because that was comfortable as gall get out. After I wore that thing for about 10 or 15 minutes out there, I forgot I had it on. So that was comfortable having the chest cam on. But it's just pointed down at an angle just a little bit too much. Just a little bit too much. They also make a float door for the Hero 5, don't they? Yeah. Now, I could technically put my hat cam thing on there, put that float door around it, and that way if my hat falls off my head, hopefully that float door keeps it up near the top of the water. But as you can see, all right, here's my mount. All right, there it is. Imagine it's against my chest. This is my chest. That's the angle it went at. The way it's mounted on that mount, see, that's the angle it's on. I need it to sit straight up. Just straight. If it were set dead straight, you would see directly out in front of my chest, which means when I'm throwing out, you would still catch most of the view. So first I'm going to look through my mounts. I'm going to check all my GoPro mounts, style mounts and everything, and see if I can find one that'll let this thing sit straight up. Because if I can get it to sit straight up, that'll give me a good enough view. And then I know it won't be underwater no longer than I'm underwater. Just think about it. And it won't be no 33 feet under. You know, because it'll stay on me because I'll have it on, wearing it. But yeah, I got to look into that. I'm getting ready to put up a little bit of this fishing stuff I had out earlier. But if you would, Tom's Hobbies, if you want to see some of what I talked about earlier, I talked about some of those wishing I was fishing.com lures. I had already tried some of those out. And in the beginning of the video, I talk about which ones actually look good in the water. I talked about one that didn't perform at all. You know, just didn't do what it was supposed to do at all. So it basically sucked. After 2 throws, it sucked. Let's put it that way. The rest of them seemed to perform pretty good for what I paid for them. I showed this earlier. Actually, I got him upside down right now. There he is. The spinner's underneath. It's a grub tail. It's considered to be a crappie buster. I didn't know if I had any spin tail, any curly tail grubs. I wasn't after it for the spinner, but I was definitely after it for the curly tail grubs. Because wishing I was fishing 73 told me these have been wearing it out. Not the actual setup I've got, but the curly tail grubs. Yeah, I talk about the lures I've tried and what they've done and the ones I still have to try. You know. And the fact that I did a rookie, noob, just dumb mistake. Tom Hobbies, I went down to the lake. It was like 2 days after I did that video with the bait caster. I go down to the lake, GoPro Hero 5 refurbished, on the chest, get down there, start fishing. And I went down there and I had to watch myself because the land goes down like this right there at the water and it's real slick. A lot of that mossy stuff mixed in with grass. So really easy to slip on when it's wet. So I get down there, I'm worried about breaking my neck. And I sit down there and I fished all them, like 4 of them Wish.com lures that I got out of the first 7 that I got. I fished 4 out of 7. Switched over and fished a couple of my actual just regular lures. Then I tied on another wish lure that I had gotten by itself. Tied that on, tried that. Didn't get nothing. Then I tried on a couple of lures that I like. Tried them, didn't catch nothing. Came on home and realized I forgot to take the lens cap off. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I felt about this big. I felt so dumb. I'm like, really, dude? I had to talk to myself on that one. I was like, really, dude? Did you really just film a whole fishing trip with the lens cap on? And I laughed about it because there wasn't nothing you could do but laugh. I go, really? You forgot to take the lens cap off? Yeah, it was one of those. Now, I'd have been more mad if I'd have caught something, you know. But it was like this. I sit there and made fun of myself. I go, really? You were so worried about falling in the muck because it had rained so much that you had that lens cap on and you forgot to take it off because you were worried about breaking the GoPro Hero 5 right after you got it. You know, I wasn't worried about it right out here in my front yard because I was just standing in one place throwing a bait caster basically. Wasn't really worried about falling out there. So I didn't even have this on when I went out the door. I just put it on in the chest cam bracket, went out the door. But when I went to go walk down there, I knew we'd had rain 2 days in a row. I was afraid I might fall and break it. So I put this on to be safe. But then forgot to take it off and fished for 2 hours with that on. And all I had was recorded sound. And I'm like, I'm not uploading, sound. And that's it. And a black screen. No. I'm like, I'm going to make fun of myself on my Tuesday night talk. And say, look, was that a rookie move or what? That was a noob mistake if you ever seen one. Going down there and filming with it. The first time actually using this to go out and fish with it. And I forget to take the lens cap off. So, if I've got it on my chest, next time when I get down to the lake, I will grab the chest brace and tilt it up to make sure I've taken it off before I start turning it on and hitting record. And if I'm wearing it on the hat, as I go to connect it on the hat, I'll go ahead and take the cap off if I'm doing it that way. Now, if I get the thing you're talking about, I'll just make sure that I take it off as I'm putting it in the mount and hooking it up there. Pop it off, set it in the bracket, close it up. That way I know it's in good. But yeah, that was a mistake and a half. But yeah, I made fun of myself about it. And I said, oh, well, still give me something to talk about a little bit on Tuesday night hobby talk, Like, it'll still give me something else, new to talk about. I can talk about the lures, say what I thought about the ones I used, and show the ones I used and show the ones I haven't used. Oh, yeah, I did that as well. I showed every lure that I have gotten from wish.com so far. I showed the ones I've tried, and then I showed the ones I haven't tried yet, and I still have to test out. And I showed the one that I thought sucked completely. I showed that one. I showed that one first, if I'm not mistaken, and then I showed the rest of them. But anyway, I did show them. Now, next video is either going to be me fishing another spot or me putting this on a different rod and putting new line on it and seeing if I can catch a fish with it. Because wishing I was fishing 73, that's what he wanted to see. He wanted to see me catch a fish with that thing. He said, we've seen that you can throw it. You can't operate it. Maybe not perfect, but I can throw it. I can operate it. I can reel it in. Back and forth doing that. He wants to see if I can go out there to the lake, throw it out, and catch a fish. you know. So I will be putting it on another rod, putting new fishing line on there, and checking to see if I can do it. But I don't know if that's going to be the next video or not. I'm probably going to go on somewhere just like eBay or something and just order me a cheap rod that's newer than that and some new fishing line, whether it be mono, 12 to 15 pound, or whether it be a braid, maybe about a 20-pound braid, just something. Put on there and go use it. Then don't know if that'll be my next video. But I have a red Toyota Helix. It's a Thunder Tiger, 1/12 scale. That might need to be my next trail video, or I might take the little HBX Devastator, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steer. I might take him out for a little run somewhere. I got to put the body back on him. I take the body off anytime I'm charging him because it's all made into one. The battery is made inside where the ESC and the receiver area are. The battery is inside of there. It's all together. And you got to go up in here with the wire and plug in to charge it. That's why the body's off. But this is an HBX Devastator, little 1/24 scale. It's got 4-wheel steer on it. It may either be that one, trying to crawl or trail somewhere, running on something, on some rock somewhere if I can find something for it, or it may be my 1/12 scale Thunder Tiger Toyota Helix, which I haven't ran, I think, in over a year. It's been at least a year, I want to say. So maybe one of those two as far as RCs. Maybe the next RC I run. Or the next video might be me going to a different spot and fishing. There's 2 spots I want to go to. One is the place where I catch the brim from the pier. Sound went away? I don't understand what happened. Sound just went away, huh? What about now? Is it back? Is it back? Or is it still gone? I don't know. I don't know whether it's gone or what's done happened to it. I got sound on my end, and it's telling me that I've got sound, but you're saying I got no sound on my end. So, does it still not have no sound? I don't know what's happened. Some reason or another, we're having technical difficulties here. I don't know what's done happened. Because right here, I'm only showing, it's only getting 2 dots on the sound. I don't know what's done happened. Oh, it's working now? I don't know what happened there, man. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a lag in the system because I had dots over here below where the sound volume is. It kept lighting up over here for me. So I don't know what happened. And it's still, every time I talk, it goes up to 2. So I know the volume was working, but I'm sitting there trying to check it just to be sure. It may have been lagging on my end stream. Something might have happened to the stream for a minute. I don't know. But I'm glad it's working now. But yeah, man, it just, like I said, my next video, I'm going to order some line for that old bait caster. I'm going to order some line for this. I'm going to order some line for this. I'm going to order a rod for that. I'm going to get some line and a rod. And I'm going to try to catch a fish with that. That was what Wishing I Was Fishing 73 had said as one of his comments on my video with that. He said, I want to see you catch a fish with that now. So I told him, let me put it on another rod. Let me put some more line on it. And we'll give it a try. But that might take about a week to get here. You know, never can tell. The other thing I had showed is my little HBX Devastator. Little 124th with all-wheel steering, four-wheel drive. The body's off of it for charging the battery. That's why the body's off of it. The battery is inside of here, and you have to go up in here with the charger to plug into it to charge it. So you have to take the body off just to be able to do it. I've got to find a spot that I can run that's got a little bit of terrain suitable for what's supposed to be a crawler. Because, you know, it is a crawler. Even if it is 1/24th scale, it's more of a crawler. It's not just a trail truck. But I do have my 1/12th scale Thunder Tiger Toyota Helix, the little red Toyota. That is a 1/12th scale by Thunder Tiger. I have not run that in over a year. Yeah. Are you talking about this one? You talking about this one, or are you talking about the little Thunder Tiger Toyota Helix? Because yeah, this one's never let me down. As you can see, I painted chassis rails black. They were chromed, and I just painted the outside of them black. That way, when I have the pickup body on it, they don't stand out that much. You're not as concentrated on what's sticking out from under the truck. All you see is the links. But yeah, it's a tough little rig for sure. Now, when I got mine, my charger was damaged. In other words, it's supposed to have the little light on it to let you know when it's charging and when it's done. My light never worked. They're not when you get it, but after you use it a few times, they scuff up and they get softer. See? They've gotten a lot softer than what they were when I bought it. The more you use this in rock, like put it on some rocks. The more you use it on rocks, the softer the tires seem to get. And they're actually starting to get wore in a little bit. Now, I had heard rumors. I haven't done it yet. You see the tread pattern. I had heard rumors of some people taking them and going backwards with them, running the tread backwards. And they said they got better traction for them. But I like them the way they are. And no foams. Just empty air. Because I feel the rim as soon as I press down. But they are bead locks at least. Now, I seen one guy take this. What he did was he put a set of, like your CR18, the little 1/18 scale. He took some wheels off of one of those, which is about the size. You know your SCX 24, how big the wheels are on it? I've seen a couple guys take these and put those size wheels on there because they give it a little more ground clearance. And they say these things crawl like a monster then because it gives it a little more ground clearance right here on this pumpkin, plus a little more ground clearance under here. Because see, they didn't bend the links. They're straight at an angle. So it makes it easier to catch up when you're crawling over something. If it had bent links, if it would have came with bent links, it would have been easier to crawl. They try to get hung up every now and then. Now this doesn't bother me. It generally tries to hang on the links because I'm being like that every now and then, depending on what you're crawling. But I've seen people putting bigger tires on them. But I don't know many tires that'll fit on these bead locks. I don't know how wide the bead locks are pretty wide. As you see, the wheels are pretty wide. So you would really have to stretch some tires to get them on these bead locks. But yeah, if you could put something like some SCX 24 on here. Not sure. Looks like a let me see. Which one was it that fit it? On your wrench? I think it's that next to the littlest one that fits it. Not positive on the size on that. Hold on a second. I think I've got it on my socket right here. I think I got a socket with that size on. Give me just a second. It is. Now this ain't a millimeter. 3/16. There's the one it takes. 3/16. See? So it is a 3/16. Oh, you talking about the hex behind it? Well, let's find out. We'll find that out right now, won't we? Give me just a second. I think it's the same one that your regular SCX 24 takes, and the same one that your the CR 24 from Hobby Plus. I think it's the same one they take. Because I saw a guy put the wheels off of a CR 24 on this thing. Let me see something. See if I can do something for it. Give me a second. That's about as close as I can get it without it wanting to just blur it out altogether. But yeah, there's the wheel nut. So it's real tiny. But I know one guy I saw running it. He was running it with the CR24 wheels on it. Another guy I saw running it, he didn't like these wheels. He said he was about to get a set of CR18s and really make it into like a monster crawler. And I saw another guy talking about, he thought that the wheels and tires that come on the Jeep, the Axial SEX24, the little white Jeep or the yellow Jeep, he said he thought those wheels would be great on here because they would give it a little bit of extra ground clearance. And then you just bolt them on here and put those. But I'm not positive on those. Oh, wait a minute. Let me show you the wheel. Maybe we can get the size of the wheel hex easier from that. See if I can get the camera to refocus again for a second. There you go. It's about the best I can do with that one. There. That's about the best I can get it. I mean, I know it's not your regular size that you run on a regular truck. Duh. You know, I know it's not that. But if you find out whatever size goes on the CRX24, then you know you got the right one. Because I seen somebody running it with the CRX20, I mean the CR24s, the Hobby Plus CR24s. But I'll put the wheel on it a little bit when I'm off camera. A little bit easier to pay attention to that then. But yeah, it's either going to be that little thing running somewhere, if I can find me a good little spot I want to run it at. But I will say the wheels and tires are way better once you wear them in. When you get this thing brand new, they are real hard. The rubber's not real sticky. They just don't feel that good in the beginning. But I've run it 3 or 4 times now, and they have gotten a little more worn in, and I can even feel the wear on them. Yeah, 12 millimeter is for the 1/10 scale, and I'm thinking 8. I want to say the 8 looks more like what it should be. I mean, I could be wrong. Hey, I will tell you this. I ran this like 3 or 4 times. I've never broken anything on it. I will say that. So do I regret purchasing this one? No. This is one rig I don't regret purchasing. I have never regretted purchasing this little guy. And I think back when I got him for like $75, $80. So no, I don't regret. I never regret purchasing that one. The only thing I do regret about it is when my charger came to me, it didn't do what it was supposed to do. It charges the battery, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Like I said, you plug in, there it is. See the arrow? There's a green arrow right there. Right down there, there's a green arrow. There's a hole right above that green arrow, and that's where you plug in to charge it. There's the hole. The hole in the green arrow going up to it. That's where you plug in to charge it. So you've got to pull the body off pretty much to charge it because you can't hardly see up in there where that hole is. And the bad thing is my charger, the light that comes on to tell you when it's charging and when it's done, didn't work in it. So I just have to plug it up and put it on charge for a few hours and then just pull it off and go and hope that I got it fully charged. because you can't charge it up. You can't charge it on a pro style charger, a hobby grade style charger, with the battery being built in. There's no plug sticking out or anything. There's nothing. You don't have a balance lead connector or anything where you can just try to balance charge it. So you do got to plug straight into it. That's my only downfall on it. Is that little light that mine had didn't work. Give me a second. I'm trying to find it. There's the body that goes on it. That's the body that goes on it. And yeah, generally the slower it is, the harder it is to break it. That is generally the way it goes. The slower it is, the harder it is to break it. Generally. Now, online when I went to buy this thing, of course I had to buy the piece to go on, get the piece to go on there, because that was the plug that came with it. But I just bought me an adapter, not that expensive. Oh well. Now, here's where it plugs into the back. No, that's how it plugs in. That's how it plugs in right there. But this was supposed to light up. Well, they sent a version that didn't. Because if you look here, there's really no light spot on here. I don't see any spot for a light on here. Looks like that used to be a place where they had a little red light or something, and then they did away with it and switched plugs. I don't know. So it's really plug it up, let it charge for a long time, and take it off and check it and see what you get. And then you can kind of, start guessing. Mine with the plug I got, that's the way it is. What I'll do is I'll put it on charge, a couple hours, let it charge, pull it off, drive it for 10 or so minutes and see what I get out of it. And if it's still running after 10 or 15 minutes, you're like, okay, takes 2 hours to get there. Well, I've been trying to time the battery when I run it so I can get an idea of when it's charged. In other words, if I charge it for 2 hours and I ran the truck and only got 5 minutes out of it, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I need to increase the 2 hours to 3 hours. But if I ran it on after 2 hours and got 20 or 30 minutes, then I'd be like, okay, that's probably a full charge. I probably don't need to charge it any longer. Here's how it looks with the body on. That's how it looks with the body on. To be honest. That way you get an idea of what you're looking at. And as you can see why I did the frame in the black, so it wouldn't stick out so much. Since the truck was black and gray, I went ahead and just did that. It was one of those paint markers. So I just took it and went down the sides, made it so all that wouldn't stand out. That way all you're seeing up in there is the links and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty heavy duty. If you look at it, take the body back off. The frame, all this is like aluminum or metal. The cross members holding it together right there, the braces, are all aluminum or metal. Your links are metal links. The only thing that is plastic is the transmission housing. Right here, your gearbox and its mounting system. That's the only plastic other than the drive shafts. That's really the only plastic down there. Underneath, your drive shafts are plastic and this. And then, of course, your steering links and stuff, your linkages for your steering. But that is some thick plastic. Look at the thickness of that steering linkage going across there for the steering. I mean, I can't even bend it. It's so stout. There's no give in this at all. So, yeah, it seems to be pretty heavy duty built. And I've actually been able to crawl over, a little bit of rocks with it. It's actually done some crawling. So, I really enjoyed this. I think you get in between, I want to say in between 15 minutes and a half hour. You get in between 15 minutes and a half hour, depending on how good you get it charged up. But I haven't taken it outside at all since we've been here. I've been here a little bit over a year. And I don't even think I've ran it inside any since I've been here. I just been messing around with other rigs. But if you gave me the choice, the ECX looks better, the little mini barrage, because, it's a trail truck that can crawl a little bit. But if you gave me an option and you told me how each one of them worked and you gave me the option of which one I'd rather buy, this may not look as good on the trail when you're trail running it, but I guarantee you're going to climb more stuff with this than you are that little ECX mini barrage. And that thing, you're lucky if you get 5 minutes out of it. It just, compared to this, Plus, you get four-wheel steering. I mean, come on. And you get a better remote. There's the remote that comes with this one. All-wheel steering. Regular size remote. The only thing it doesn't have is foam on the steering wheel. And I can live without that. I'm not upset about that. I mean, come on. But it's a regular size remote. And you get all-wheel steering. So, yeah, I really like this little guy for what it is. Now, I have been looking on different hobby sites. And I want to get me another body for this. Because I'm not as big a fan of this body. Yeah. I mean, for the price, if you want something to do a little bit of crawling, whether it's on a desk, whether it's across some living room stuff you put down for it, or whether it's out in the yard doing some light crawling, to me, you can't beat this for the price. As far as crawlers go, you can't beat it. Now, as far as trail trucks go, this doesn't really look like your trail truck. Even if you slap that on it, it still doesn't really look like a trail truck. This looks like a Bigfoot monster truck that you're going to go and crawl over some cars with. To be honest, that's what that looks more like. Looks more like a monster truck, like Bigfoot, that you would use to crawl over cars with. And it even has the front and rear wheel steer, like Bigfoot did back in the day, like a Bigfoot did. But what I want to do is I want to order me a 1/25th scale model car body and put that on here. So that way I can drop it down a little bit lower. That way the body actually looks like it fits. In other words, the body would come out to here and out the back here, just about. I may do that later down the road. Now, one person I saw, he took it, left it like this, took these off, and made it look like a rock racer. Think about it. Look at the chassis. Look at the way it's made up. He left it the chrome looking. He didn't do this in black. He left it chrome looking. And then he took these two off, because they unscrew. You can take them out with a couple screws. He took all those out and turned it into like a rock bouncer or rock racer, which would still look pretty cool. You take the body post mounts off of it, and there you go. You got yourself a little rock racer, rock bouncer. So yeah, this thing has been a gem. Definitely out of the little RCs I've got, been one of my favorites. Because like I said, I ran it 3 or 4 times. Didn't break anything on it. Nothing. Never broke anything on it. I just wish the chargers they sent me had a light on it that would go off and let you know that it was charged. So you didn't have to sit there and guess, time it, and start trying to learn the timing. Okay, I charged it for 2 hours. Let me see how long I can run it. 2-hour charging gets me this. Charge it a little bit longer, see if you get longer. Go 3 hours, see if you get 20 minutes or whatever. And then you start figuring it out on your own. Okay, I need to put this on charge for 3 hours to get a full run out of it. You know, you can learn it, but you shouldn't have to. Any charger that comes with an RC should have some kind of light that goes off or whatever. Even if it starts out with a red light that turns green when it's charged, or starts out with no light, and then when it's charged up, a green light pops on to let you know it's done. And that's the only complaint I've got on this rig. There's no light to let you know when it's charged. But after playing around with it a little bit, you can figure it out and gauge how long it takes to charge the battery fully. I mean, just charge it for an hour, run it, see how long you get. Then charge it for, say, like an hour and a half, run it, see how long you get. Then go up to 2. If you get more at 2, try going to 2.5 to 3 and see what you get. And say if you get up to 3 and you're getting a half hour or more, you'd be like, okay, that's good enough. Because, I mean, most of the time you aren't going to run that for more than 20 or 30 minutes anyway. That would be pretty good. But, yeah, that thing right there blows away the Barrage. The Barrage is just for scale looks. But to me, it sucks the way they built it. I mean, I'm not saying I love the body. I love the wheels. I'm going to feel guilty if you lose that axle nut. Got it right here, my man. Sitting right beside the wheel. That's why I'm not putting my hands much up here. Because I don't want to lose it. But I will say this. Small vehicles, this one has proved itself to me time and time and time again as being a good purchase. I cannot complain. If you're just wanting it for scale looks, get you a little CR24. If you're just wanting it for scale looks, get you the Axial SCX 24. You know. Or if you just want scale looks, try to find you a little Barrage, a little 124. But I'm going to tell you, the little Barrage 124, you're going to be disappointed in the battery life and disappointed in the servo. I killed my servo on the second run. Burned it up as soon as it started on the second run. Had to put a new servo in it. And the battery they sell you with it, mine, either my battery was defective or my charger was defective. I run it out in the yard and I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes. And I don't care what RC it is. If it's hobby grade, you should get more than 5 minutes out of it. I don't care what it is. You should get more than 5 minutes. So I'm a little disgusted at the ECX Barrage. But I'm also disgusted with Horizon Hobby. They turned around and took the ECX Barrage and made it in-store only. You can't buy it unless you live somewhere where there's a store nearby. It's hard to find parts for it unless you're somewhere near somebody that sells Horizon Hobby stuff. And my closest RC place to me is 2 hours away. And I really don't want to drive 2 hours to buy a $15 battery or a $15 charger. Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. $15 for a nickel metal little 6-cell battery to go. It ain't even a 6-cell. I think it's a 4.8. Little nickel metal 4.8, 220 milliamps. And you're charging $16 to buy it on the internet. Or either I got to drive all the way 2 hours away to a Horizon Hobby style store that sells Horizon Hobby products to be able to buy a battery. The battery's not worth $16. Please. Or at least mine wasn't. I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes. And that was with me unplugging the lights at the front, trying to take less strain on the battery. Then you got the charger. They want $16 for the charger. So you've been eyeballing this for 4 months, huh? Well, man, I don't think it'll let you down. Now, I will tell you, there's a couple things you can do to help these tires. These tires, if you want to run it a little bit on these tires first, before maybe you try some different tires and wheels. Take your tires the night before you go out. Now, I learned this from Shin RC. I will be honest. I'll tell you where I got it from. Shin RC. Take and spray you some WD-40 on a rag or directly on the tire. Spray it on the tire. Rub it all the way around the tire a couple hours before you go out to run it. He said it makes the tires softer, which will make them more grippy because they'll squish in and form to the rocks a little bit better. But you can look at mine now. They're a lot softer now. Mine was from just running it. I just run it and ran it up the biggest rocks I could find and tried to climb them, and they made them wear in more. Mine are scuffed up. Plus, one other tip. Take you a little piece of light sandpaper. Don't get heavy. You ain't got to go real gritty. Get you some light. Put it in your hand. Cup it around it. Like that. Just lightly scuff up the tread. I'm not saying eat half the tread off. I'm saying light sandpaper. Light scuff them up. It'll help them grip better by just lightly scuffing them. Help them grip better. Or you can go the WD-40 route. Yeah, you're taking that stuff, that new greasy, new rubber smell off of them, and that slick coating on them that makes them look pretty and shiny. And it helps them grip a little bit more. I scuffed mine. This was before I started talking to Shin RC. And before I learned about the WD-40 trick. I scuffed mine up with just a little bit of sandpaper. A light sandpaper. And it made them grip better. But what I would do if I was you, try them out yourself. Do one little test run without doing anything to them. Run them up something. See how they work. Then either scuff them up with a little bit of sandpaper or just spray them up with a little bit of WD-40, rub it around them, let them sit for about an hour or so, run them back up that and see what your response is to them then. You know? Come back and let me know. That way you can let me know whether I should have scuffed them or whether I should have WD-40'd them. Which one works better for you? You know? But my next run video is either going to be this or that Thunder Tiger 1/12 scale Toyota Helix, the little red truck I got. It's going to be one of those two as far as my next run video. My next fishing video will either be the kayak going in down here at my spot so I can try to get out to some bank area I found that has a lot of brush sticking off of it that I can get over near and fish. A lot of brush hanging over in the water and everything. It'll either be me getting the kayak out there and going out there and fishing, or me going to one of my other spots where I know there's a pier I can fish off of, and I've caught some brim down there. I'll either go down there and fish, see what I can do, or there's another spot that I can stand at the edge of the bank and throw up in this covey area where it comes up into and closes up into, and there's some brush. Try to see what I can do. Or there's a creek/river under a bridge that I've been wanting to try. I'd have to get me some live bait, and I would take me like some crappie jigs on one rod, and then take some like red worms on another rod, and just go down there and fish those two things. No, I'm not in lockdown yet. They haven't locked us down yet. They just advise on staying at home. But like I told on the video in the beginning, I don't have enough storage space to store up a whole month worth of things. So I have to go out at least once a week to pick up stuff. If you go back and watch the beginning of the video, you'll see me fussing at the dumb people or fussing about the dumb people. We've got people in our town still taking their babies into Walmart. And they'll be in there with their spouse. And I'm like, you could have left the baby out there in the car or the baby at home with said spouse. I would not be taking a baby into Walmart when there's 100, 200 people in there. I was talking about stuff like that. I gave an update on the COVID virus in my area and in a couple of towns, a couple of counties above me and below me. You know, kind of told what they were doing. But yeah, it is getting a little bit scarier. You know, here. My girlfriend went online and found me some masks. She's going to try to order me. Probably tomorrow, she's going to try to order me. There's 2 reusable, rewashable ones and a pack of gloves. So that way I can be completely, at least myself, taken care of. That way I can go in there with the rubber gloves to hold on to the buggy, to grab the packages and not worry. And if anybody coughs or sneezes near me, I'll have the mask on. Luckily, I haven't been within 6 feet of anybody when they sneezed or coughed. Luckily on that. But now there's certain aisles in Walmart, like I told earlier, you can't get down without getting close to somebody. You get on the bread aisle, and that's like one of the #1 aisles in Walmart that get busy. And you're going to be standing here looking over here to see what you're going to pick. And as soon as you look at it, somebody's going to come going by and go, "Excuse me," or say hey to you. Even if they don't know you, they may speak. Well, me, I just like, "Hey, how are you?" I throw my hand over my mouth just in case. Or I'll just, being a gentleman, hey, that's one way of trying to do something. I wish more people would at least try something here. I mean, come on, you're taking a baby into a grocery store or a store with 50, 75, 100, 175, 200 people in there, and you're sitting that baby in the buggy? How good did you wipe that buggy down? You know? And this baby dropped her passy while sitting in the buggy. It fell in the buggy. Mom picked it up, wiped it off with her hand, stuck it back in the baby's mouth. You don't know what's touched that buggy, what's been all over it. That baby could get it. And it would be your fault. You took that baby in there. Not to mention, you get home, that baby sneezes or gets sick on you. Mom could get it. I'm just saying people need to be a little more careful. And apparently, in this county, they're not. I will say this. I'll say I live in South Carolina. And we got some smart people here, and we got some definitely not. Okay? But, I mean, people are dying in South Carolina, and it hasn't registered for half the population yet. I look it up every day. If you just go on the Weather Channel, you can click on, they got a link on my laptop. I can click on the COVID link, and I can go look at different cities in different states and see who's got the worst outbreaks to get an idea of where we're at. We went from 4 up to like 16 in less than 2 weeks of confirmed cases. In less than 2 weeks' time, we went from 4 cases to 16 cases. You know, and here it is. The county above our county, 25 confirmed cases. The next county below it, 39 confirmed cases, 2 dead. Our county has 1 dead. The county below us has 15 cases, 0 dead. The county over here already had like 15, 16 cases the first couple days after the outbreak. So I'm scared to look at them because I know they're going to be way more than us. And the one over here, it had, I think it was 8 or 10 when we had 4 confirmed cases with it. So we're completely surrounded in it. It's just like we're right in the danger zone. Every county around my county, pretty much, except for that one below us, is eat up with it. You know, you got at least 15 cases or more. You got like 15 cases one place, 25 cases another, 39 another. And just right here around us, you got at least 3 or more dead. South Carolina. This is South Carolina in the whole. 1,083 confirmed cases. As of before I started this video, there was 1,083 confirmed cases when I got ready to start this video. There were 22 deaths already when I got ready to start this video. That's just South Carolina. No other state, just South Carolina now. So I hope some people from South Carolina do see this. Wake up. Be as careful as you can. If you have a spouse and you have kids, leave your kids home with your spouse. Go to the grocery store by yourself if you need to go out. Do not take your kids to the grocery store if you don't need to. If you don't have any other choice, I understand you don't have a choice. But if you have relatives, you have a spouse, you have a friend or a neighbor you know will watch them for you, leave them with them. Do not take your little ones into Walmart to go grocery shopping. Just try to be safe. You can only do so much, but you can at least try. Why do you think I said what I said? I go into Walmart. I walk up to the antibacterial thing. I'm rubbing down the rail that you hold on to roll the buggy. I rub that off. I take a second one, rub my hands. Then I lay my wrist up on there and do not touch the actual buggy. And I wheel it down the aisles. I grab my stuff. I pick it up. I do not touch my face, any part up here. I collect my groceries because I couldn't find any gloves at the time. You couldn't find anything in any of the stores. No mask, no gloves. But yet you don't see people wearing them. Somebody went and bought up all the masks and all the gloves so where you couldn't find them in the stores, but yet they're not wearing them. Go figure. So I walk around in there, pick up everything I need to do at the grocery store, try to cover my mouth when I'm talking, if somebody speaks to me, tip my hat at them if I don't speak, to let them know I'm still acknowledging that they spoke to me. Get out of there as quick as I can. I come back to the front door. I grab another one just in case I've touched something that got it on it. I wipe my hands again as I'm coming out the door. Roll the buggy out to the car. Open the car up. Put the groceries in the back of the car. Come home. Don't touch the face. Don't touch any other parts of my body with my hands. I drive home. I park. I come in the house. Set the groceries down on the floor. Start putting them up. As soon as I get them put away, I go over to the sink and I wash my hands with antibacterial soap. So I'm at least trying. And then my girlfriend found them on Amazon, some masks. And we seen some on other sites like that you can order from. And she found some gloves. And she's going to be getting me some of them. So that way from now on, when I go out to the grocery store, I'll have a mask on. And I'll have gloves. But I understand where you're coming from about after like a little bit, you can't hardly breathe with something over your face. I have a chronic bronchitis. And I used to work a job at a mill. And I had to wear one of their masks that did like this. And I'd hyperventilate. I'd be up on the 3rd floor, hyperventilating. Have to go outside and stand on the balcony and have somebody come out there and watch me to make sure I didn't pass out and fall over the rail. Because I was hyperventilating so bad from wearing the mask. My chronic bronchitis caused it. Just made me short of breath. And what I did was I ended up having to quit the job. Because I told him, I said, if you can't put me on a floor that I don't have to wear that mask on where it's not a regulation. And I knew they had other jobs in there that they could have put me in that didn't require wearing the mask. But they didn't. I was a newer guy, so they figured why waste time on him. They said, well, if you can't wear the mask, then you can't work here. I was like, well, good. Bye. And I waved at them as I went out the door. I said, because one of these times, somebody's not going to be there to look after me. I'm going to go out there, hyperventilate out there on the balcony and end up falling over and breaking something. Neck, arm, whatever. So, but man, be careful. Everybody, be careful wherever you live. I mean, at least do what I'm saying. Go in, use a sanitizer rag, do the buggy rail, and then use another sanitizer rail real quick, hand right, real quick, get your hands. Wheel the buggy around, come back out the front as you're coming out the door, grab another wipe your hands again. That way, if you touched anything in the store that maybe had it on it, you're safe. Come out the door, go home. When you're through putting away everything, wash your hands with some antibacterial soap, or if you got some sanitizer. So you don't wear a garbage bag. You were kidding. Yeah, people would definitely get a kick out of you walking in there with a garbage bag on. Now, I will say, I have gone out and fished in the rain wearing a black trash bag. No lie. Took it like a 39-gallon trash bag, ripped holes where the arms go, ripped a hole right here for the head, put it down and covered my body so my clothes wouldn't get wet. That way, the only thing that got wet was my head and my arm. I went out there and fished like that. I have wore a trash bag for fishing. I'll admit that one. And of course, if you get a window that won't let up, put a trash bag over your window. I have done that before. But never wore a trash bag into a store. Yeah, that might get a lot of bad looks. But yeah, man, you got to try to watch out for yourself because a lot of times other people ain't. There's a few times other people will look out for you, but most of the time, they're not looking out for you. They're looking out for number one. I mean, when you get somebody that's like this close to you, walks right up on you, leaves you that much space, they're not looking out for them or you. Because for all they know, you've got it. For all you know, they've got it. They didn't even try to stay 6 feet away. They walked right up on you. Or that far, just that far in front of you, 2 feet in front of you. If you happen to call for sneeze and you've got it, then that person's got it. You know, you try to social distance as best as you can. But if you get into a grocery store and you go down an aisle and you're looking through what's left over of the bread that people haven't taken, trying to pick the one you're going to get, there's going to be somebody who's going to do this. Excuse me, and come by. So you can't always stay 6 feet. But everybody, be careful. Look out for yourself. Yeah, because you just don't know. And that's why I'm so glad first part of the month we're going to be trying to get me at least some gloves and at least some kind of mask. Because I have to go to Walmart or a grocery store at least once a week. We have a small style refrigerator and a very small freezer on it. So we don't have much room to keep cold stuff. So I have to go to the grocery store once a week. And our cabinet space isn't the best. So I have to go once a week to the grocery store. So I really need the mask and the gloves. That way, it's not as risky on me. And then she wants to get a little bit of hand sanitizer and have one bottle for me to keep in my car and one bottle to have here in the house. You know. That way we can be even more safe. But, like I said, man, I made that rookie mistake on the fishing by not taking the cover off when I used the GoPro Hero 5 for the first time. But I will be making sure I don't do that. And you say that's called the action hat? That's what you said that was called? Because I'm definitely going to have to look one of those up. Because I may want to look into that down the road. If I'm not doing the chest, then I might just want it on the action hat because the action hat floats. That way I don't have to worry about it either way. If I got it on my chest, it'll be on me if I go in the water. If I got it on my head, the hat's floating beside the boat. Reach over there and grab it real quick. Of course, you're going to try to turn the kayak up, and you're going to try to see if you can get back in it. But if you can't, then I'm just going to be grabbing it by the rope, putting the hat back on my head wet, and trying to swim my butt to the shore and try to pull my kayak in with me. You know. Of course, I do wear a life vest. I'm not stupid. Because you never know what can happen when you fall into the water. You know, if you're not wearing that life vest, you could go under, hit your head on a rock, and then you ain't coming out. So I do wear a life vest when I'm out there in my kayak. But anyway, everybody, be safe. Whether other people are being safe or not, man, do your best to be safe. Mine works good and it's comfy. I'm definitely going to look into the action hat. I am going to look into that. That ain't saying that'll be one of my next videos, me actually using that hat yet, because it may take a while before I get one. Because I still want to get that rod to put that bait caster on. I still want to get that line to change up on that bait caster so I can test it out actually in a fishing instance and see if I can catch a fish with it. Because wishing I was fishing 73, he asked me, he said, man, I want you to try it out. He's like, I want you to try it out, man. Take it to the lake, see if you can catch a fish with it, with that reel. So I want to do that. And it's either going to be that type fishing video, me fishing at that creek I was talking about with live bait that I've never tried, or me down there at the pier using some lures to try to see if I can catch something. Me running this, or me running that Toyota Helix 1/12 scale by Thunder Tiger. It'll be something like that. I'll try to get done. I'll try to get one of those done before my next Tuesday talk, or Tuesday night hobby talk. I'll try to get something like that done before that if I get a chance. But they say we're fixing to have some more rain come in, 40, 50, 70, and like 80% the next 4 days, I think. So I don't know whether I'll get out or not. I'll have to look and see if there's going to be a break in between the rain. But anybody, everybody, do your best to stay safe. Peace. This is Marshall. Enjoy your hobbies and stay safe. We out. Later, Tom's Hobbies. Later, wishing I was fishing 73 or whoever else may be in here. Everybody stay safe and have a great one. Tom Hobbies, thank you for saying that, man. I appreciate it. I hope to be back next Tuesday as well. It'll be in between 8 and 9 because that's when I've been posting them lately. I try to come on at 8, but generally ends up being 8:30, 8:45 sometimes. I just run a little bit late. Peace. Marshall, we out.